Fam, this story is wild, so buckle up, because we're diving deep into the swirling currents of celebrity perception, marital dynamics, and the ever-present court of public opinion. While Steph Curry continues to embody the golden standard of the NBA, a figure seemingly untouched by scandal, drama, or the usual celebrity pitfalls, his wife, Ayesha Curry, has once again managed to ignite a firestorm across the internet. From startling confessions made on a widely popular podcast to being spotted overseas in the company of Drake's OVO crew, a question that few ever anticipated asking is now echoing across social media. Is Ayesha publicly embarrassing Steph Curry? Let us meticulously break down every facet of this unfolding narrative, because the digital world simply cannot cease its discussion. For a significant period, Steph and Ayesha were universally lauded as the quintessential blueprint of Black love and marital success. Their journey began in their youth. They built a family and presented an image of a couple who truly possessed it all: 4 children, a seemingly unshakable marriage, and an absence of any public scandals. Steph, in particular, has meticulously maintained an unblemished public image. There have been no whispers of infidelity, no messy headlines dominating the tabloids, and no shadowy figures from his past emerging to disrupt his carefully cultivated persona. He stands as a beacon of loyalty and family values within the demanding world of the NBA, a stark contrast to many of his peers. However, Ayesha's public image has undergone a noticeable transformation over the years. She initially captivated audiences with a sweet, wholesome, and relatable mom vibe, often sharing recipes and family moments. But gradually, the nature of her public content began to shift. We started seeing more provocative posts, headlines that seemed designed to grab attention, and public comments that, to some, appeared to subtly undermine or downplay the sanctity of her marriage. And as these shifts occurred, a growing segment of their fanbase began to feel that the spotlight she increasingly sought came at a direct cost to her husband's carefully constructed image and their shared marital narrative. The question began to form: was this pursuit of individual shine inadvertently casting a shadow over their once unquestionable union? The drama reached a fever pitch, a crescendo of public scrutiny, when Ayesha made an appearance on the highly influential Call Her Daddy podcast. The revelation she shared during this interview sent shockwaves through her fanbase and beyond, causing many to metaphorically clutch their pearls in disbelief. She candidly admitted that when she first began dating Steph, she hated it and felt profoundly that she didn't sign up for that life. This initial confession alone was enough to raise eyebrows, but she then proceeded to drop an even more significant bombshell. She stated that she never actually wanted to get married and never wanted to have children. Now, let us pause here for a moment and consider the profound implications of these statements. Ayesha and Steph have been married for well over a decade, a testament to their enduring commitment, and they are the proud parents of 4 beautiful children. So, the critical question that immediately arose for many was, why choose to bring these deeply personal and potentially hurtful sentiments to light now on such a widely accessible and public platform? The timing and context of these admissions sparked an immediate and intense debate among fans, many of whom quickly pointed out a glaring double standard. Because let us be entirely honest with ourselves, if Steph Curry were ever to appear on a similar podcast and declare, "I hated being with Ayesha at first. I didn't want to marry her. I didn't want kids," the internet would undoubtedly erupt in a firestorm of condemnation. He would be mercilessly dragged online, labeled as ungrateful, disrespectful, and unequivocally a bad husband. The public outcry would be swift and severe. Yet, when Ayesha articulates these very same sentiments, the narrative often shifts. Suddenly, her words are framed by some as an act of raw honesty, a display of bravery in sharing her authentic feelings. This stark contrast in public reaction is precisely what has fueled the indignation of many fans. Their upset stems not from the fact that she may have genuinely harbored these feelings at one point, but rather from her deliberate choice to air them out publicly, years after the fact, especially when Steph has consistently and meticulously avoided any public actions that could be perceived as embarrassing or disrespectful to her. It highlights a perceived imbalance in how their individual public personas are managed and received. Fast forward just a few weeks from the podcast controversy, and Ayesha found herself once again dominating headlines. This time, the catalyst was her girls' trip to Italy, a celebratory excursion for a friend's 40th birthday. On its own, a vacation with friends is, of course, an entirely normal and innocuous activity for anyone, celebrity or otherwise. But here is precisely where the narrative takes a decidedly spicy turn. Videos began to circulate widely across social media platforms, depicting Ayesha in a social setting, enjoying drinks and camaraderie with none other than members of Drake's OVO crew. Yes, you heard that correctly. Ayesha Curry, thousands of miles away in Italy, conspicuously without Steph by her side, was seen chilling with individuals closely associated with Drake's inner circle. Now let us once again engage in a thought experiment. Imagine if Steph Curry were to post images or videos of himself drinking and socializing with other women in Italy, while Ayesha remained at home. The internet, without a shadow of a doubt, would absolutely explode. He would be subjected to an immediate and relentless barrage of criticism, accused of being disrespectful, of tarnishing his family's image, and of betraying the trust placed in him as a public figure. Yet when Ayesha engages in a similar activity, public opinion becomes sharply divided. Some individuals are quick to dismiss it as harmless fun, an innocent display of a woman enjoying her vacation. Others, however, are far less forgiving, labeling it as an act of outright disrespect towards her husband and their marriage. Fans in particular cannot help but draw a direct comparison, pointing out that Steph, with his meticulous attention to his public image and his unwavering commitment to his family, would almost certainly never place himself in such a potentially compromising position. He understands, implicitly, the immense damage such optics could inflict upon his personal brand and, by extension, his marriage. So, the recurring question that emerges from this incident is, why does Ayesha appear to feel so comfortable engaging in actions that carry such a significant risk of public misinterpretation or criticism? This is precisely where the broader debate truly takes hold, moving beyond the specifics of these two incidents and delving into more fundamental questions about modern relationships and public life. Should married women, particularly those in the public eye, embark on girls' trips? Some argue unequivocally that yes, they absolutely should. Marriage, in this view, does not necessitate the abandonment of one's individuality, personal friendships, or the activities that brought joy before the marital vows. The very qualities and interests that made a person attractive before marriage should, ideally, remain an integral part of their identity within the marriage. However, a counter-argument posits that the issue is not merely about taking a trip, but rather about establishing and respecting clear boundaries, both within the marriage and in the public sphere. Going on a vacation is one thing. Posting images and videos online that depict one drinking and socializing with other men in a manner that could easily be misconstrued as being single or unattached is an entirely different matter. And this is where many argue that the double standard becomes glaringly obvious. If a man were to engage in precisely the same behavior, he would be condemned almost instantly, facing widespread public scorn and accusations of impropriety. Yet when women like Ayesha engage in similar actions, it is, in some circles, either celebrated as an act of liberation or staunchly defended as harmless. At the end of the day, Steph Curry, through all of this, appears remarkably unbothered. He never retaliates with public statements, never offers comments that could fuel the fire, and consistently acts to protect his wife's image, even when her actions are drawing criticism. But many fans are simply not buying this outward appearance of indifference. They perceive a distinct imbalance in the dynamic. Steph consistently honors the marriage with quiet dignity and unwavering loyalty, while Ayesha, in their view, continues to publicly stir the pot, creating narratives that invite scrutiny and debate. So what is your perspective on all of this? Is Ayesha Curry simply being her authentic self? And are people overreacting to the natural evolution of a public figure's life? Or do you believe she is indeed crossing a line, perhaps inadvertently, and disrespecting Steph with these highly visible public moves? Personally, It feels like if the shoe were on the other foot and Steph were engaging in similar behaviors, the public would be far less forgiving and the condemnation would be swift and severe. But I am genuinely eager to hear your thoughts on this complex situation. Drop your opinions down below in the comments section. Do you think she is keeping it real? Or do these incidents signal a red flag for potential trouble in paradise? And if you are someone who thrives on keeping up with the latest celebrity drama, the intricate dance of public personas, and the ever-shifting landscape of cultural commentary, then make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss a single upload. Trust me, we have plenty more tea to spill, and you are definitely not going to want to miss it.